Hey everyone, Ken here. I'm a website designer for coaches over at coachingsites.work.com. And this morning I was working on this website, which is not live yet, leader.works, and it's Kevin Kissinger's website. He is going to be a coach. Down the line, he's just developing his business while he's still working. So he hired me to help him get his website in place. And this morning I was working on it and specifically just laying out the page and making things readable, tidy, really polishing up what I had before. What I like to do with websites is just really just get things up there, get it rough, especially the homepage, and get content up there. We've created some content and it hasn't been polished yet, but the essence of the ideas of the content is up there. And this is like this organic, gradual design approach that I use. Um, yeah, you basically just build it by rough drafts, creating rough drafts and polishing. So I was working on the site this morning, and I get excited when things come together nicely. And as you can see on this site, there's a clean, obvious logo. There's a obviously positioned menu. The sections are obvious. The content is a lot of white space and easy, welcoming to read. This does need to be polished up and tightened up and probably cut in half. Cutting content in half is a really good way to tighten it up and strengthen it. But you can see there's an obvious section here. This is a bit of a message of what, you can get a sense of what's here right away. There's a button for what to do next. I can click on that button and it takes me where I need to go. Very highly usable. There's an obvious, this is more of a call to action up here. And that's like a subtle cue that this is the thing you want to do. And it turns red, so it heats up. This one does red as well. And we have these colors in here. They work well with this blue. It just is the color that sticks out, that goes through. Great for executives. Great for this trust building. They say this color. And yeah. Open up the Divi builder and point out to probably a few things that, especially, you might not realize. You probably can tell that, wow, this is fresh and clean, but you might not realize when you see a lot of websites out there, you see a mess, and sometimes it's hard to tell where it goes from messy or just so to like, wow, clean and crisp. Even the white space on the edge around here does a lot for content. And even the use of soft colors and use of no colors, white. A lot of this is white here, very dramatic. Okay, now boom, right into the content. That's really where I want to be. No distraction around the side. But when we do land on the site, we got, okay, wow, here he is. Kevin's here. We know it's him. The name's up here. But there's also a message to the client, the executive who he works with, to lead and influence while creating balance and joy in life. You need to grow in a new way. So there's a message about that, and it says who he works with, high achievers to become powerful leaders. So, for the target audience, they can really get an immediate sense of what this is, who this is for, where to begin, read on, go here. Am I overworked, underpaid, and a nagging feeling something is missing in life? Okay, great. Now his clients who, the middle managers, executives, new executives, and they're just working really hard and get a lot of out of balance issues and stuff like that. But let me go into the Divi theme, because I'm going to point out to you some things that are subtle, but do a lot or do a lot for the last. So one thing I'm going to show you right away is, if you see this image of Kevin here, this is called a hero image. So it's like a big image. Some people call it a glory image, glory shot, action image. But it's wide. And in fact, the picture wasn't that wide. When I got it, I had to expand out, left more background. And I also blurred the background so that the text on top of it is easier to read. If you haven't seen, you probably have. You've probably seen text on top of images, and then if the image is complicated or has detail in it, it's really hard to read the text. This is much easier to read than it was a few hours ago when I was working on it. I want to show you what I did to make this what I call a core message or a central message um, readable. And right now it's quite readable, and I'm going to improve it even a little bit more. I think it could be even more. So I'm in WordPress. I'm going to enable the visual builder that comes with the Divi theme. And let me just show you what's here. Let me show you. You can tell I'm logged into WordPress because across the top there's a black bar. So those of you who are new to WordPress, that's a pretty cool picture. When you're new to WordPress, you're learning the environment and what things are like. And there are a lot of places you can click and you can get lost, but you'll know you're logged into WordPress when the black bar at the top is showing. Now I've activated the visual builder. So this visual builder, essentially you build as you see it is as you edit it. So like as I move the mouse around, I get these contextual menus of things I can edit, like this whole section at the top. If I move to here, here's a row. This green stuff is a row. And then if I move in the middle, it's a module. Okay, so there's another video, I think, going more into this kind of stuff. But let me just show you the this entire section here, the blue one, that's encapsulates the hero image and the text. So I have the text floating to the left, the hero image, I've intentionally gotten it so that he's on the one side and it's blank on the other. And what I've done with the Divi theme is I've overlaid I've made the background dark where the text is. I've had this gradient dark overlay. I'm going to show you that because you can always use if you put a dark like tint behind text, it can help make the white text pop out over the image behind it. So an easy way to fix a situation where you have text over an image and you can't read the text because there's too much going on is to put a tint or a shading behind the text. So here I am in this section, and I'm going to click on the settings, and I'm going to go into the background, and in the Divi theme, you can see if I go, you can have a solid background, solid color. You can have a gradient, which is what I put here. As you can see, it's gray to the left and clear on the right. You can see there are two colors in a gradient. A gradient goes from one color to another. And on the left, I have this color. And on the right, I have this color. On the left, it's gray. But if I click on this, you can see it's a gray where it's I've made the opacity of it around 50%. Now, if I make this darker, you can see the text is much easier to read. If I make it lighter, it's harder to read. So the trick is to pick a spot where the background, you can still feel it, but the text becomes very easy to read. So I'm going to go excessively kind of quite dark. Now that's very legible, and the background is kind of dark, maybe a little creepy. That might not be what we want, but I'm going to do that just so you can see what's happening. Okay, so this is a gradient. If I click on this other image over here, that's the image, and you can actually put a video in the background, which I don't mess with too much. And you can position the background. You can do all kinds of things. But for now, let me just show you what this gradient looks like. I'll hit the checkbox here just to apply it, and there you have it. Let me move the mouse away so you can see it in its full effect. Yeah, I've darkened the shadow behind him, but it's a gradient. So it goes from the upper left corner to the bottom right. And the upper left is dark, the bottom right is clear. You can see Kevin very clearly, and the text you can read very clearly. But it's a little dark, a little spooky. So I think it's a bit too dark. It doesn't need to be as dark. And I actually can make that, it's a black gradient. It's a black. I can make that a green. Actually, let me do that. So let me go to, again, this section to the background. And I'm going to click on the gradient over here. And then let me take this color. And instead of it being black, I'm going to change the color to a green. let's do that. I click on this little thing over here. It just gives me more. I'm going to click just into this color here, select color. I should use this little focus thing over here, and I'll select color, and I will click on I'll click on a green. Now I can once I click on that, I get this whole color palette. I can go anything I want here. So here's blue, here's here, but a lot of the background is green. So let me go to green. Let me go with the darker green. And the more I go down darker, the darker it gets. The more I move to the left, the more of a yellow green it is. That's a little bit pukish. Let's just get a green that matches the background. That's right there. And then I'm gonna over here to the slider. You can gray it by using this slider. Okay, so that just kind of takes the color out. And then you can, on this other slider, you can just change the opacity. So I'm going to drop the opacity down there. I'm going to leave it its full richness in green, and maybe a little less rich. Let's just drop it down to there. I might make it a darker green too by dropping the circle down. So there's all kinds. You can play with this till it fits right. And that's what I do. Eyeball till it feels good. So there you go. I'm taking it's darker and less green, and then I'm going to, let's just pull out some of the color here. And okay, I'm going to make it a little less. So now instead of this green black shadow, it's a green shadow. So it's a little less creepy. So let me just apply that. Okay, and do I feel even better about that? I guess I do. Now you can see it's very legible, and it's got a green. And let's try that on for size. Ooh, what did I do there? I'm gonna leave it like that because I'm gonna meet with Kevin later in the week and just get a feel for it. Sometimes you get with these design things, you can do good, and then you can do something and then you don't know if it's good, and only time will tell. Feedback from others, letting it sit for a day, just like content writing, just like designing designing an experience, the pages and organization. Sometimes you can. It's good to put it down. So you just do good, put it down, and then pick it up later. So I'm going to save this. Save. By the way, that gradient that I put here, let me just go back to that for those of you who are doing this. So I go to the background. I'm going to click on the gradient. And then there's a few settings here. You can start where the gradient positions, left, how far left. I can start up upper left corner. I can start it, move it all the way down to the bottom right. You can see, there's a right spot, and it was about 48%. So I'll put that back there. And then you can do the other side too. So there's a bit you can tweak with, and these things, it's good to play with them to feel how they work. That's really the way to do it. And I did have to place the background above the image. If I placed it below the image, you wouldn't see it. So that's a little thing you have to do there. But the great thing about the Divi theme is there's a lot of stuff you can tweak. It's the great thing about it, and it's also the not so great thing because you can overdo it and get lost in it. And make it a little bit darker. That's where there's trade-offs. The more tools, the more you can get lost, and the more you can play with things too much. Try to make it perfect. But if I had to give you a piece of advice, it's good to do good and then put it down. Technology and playing around, it's fun and it's good to learn and all this stuff, but you can spend a lot of time, you can spend too much time on it as well, and then you get kind of minimal returns. It's good to put it down and get feedback from others, share it, look at it with fresh eyes. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to exit the visual builder, and I think I'm just going to leave this video with this. It's plenty to say. It's plenty to learn from that. I exit the visual builder, and here we have simply Kevin's site. You see there was a little spin effect there. That was pretty cool. I'm going to scroll to the bottom. There's a little spin effect you're going to get. And we'll talk about that in another video. But look, ready? Boom. Actually, that one just faded in. But there's a little subtle effect. I'll reload the page. You can see. Watch how the text section here just kind of spins and appears. And there's a few different effects there's animation effects you can do with the Divi theme. And I like to pull them in. It's subtle, and it can work with the feeling you get from it. There's a bit of a turn around and show up kind of effect. Subtle things. A little button here too that tells you where to go. But there you have it. There's the shadow and the gradient and making the text legible and the Divi theme and WordPress. Okay, that's it for now. I hope everyone is doing well. And questions or comments, I love hearing from them. If you're running into this on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe. My job is to beg you to do that stuff. But hey, ultimately, I just want to help you learn from this. So if you're happy and you're learning, let me know with a like or a +1 or a comment or whatever makes sense. Okay, I'm off.